6:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so real estate basics. So this is the probably the greatest form here. Number one is to have this meeting, but not only that, but to have it at the beginning of the year, right? Because not only is the beginning of the year you want to start out fresh, but we're going to start out fresh with this topic of real estate basics. And then, like I said, if you have questions, you can any board member, you can email us or you can contact me, email me, and if you're in Charlotte, do you know that we have a board member in Charlotte? If you do, please type in the chat yes or no. Because if you type no, we want to make sure that you know that Dana is there. And if you're close to Charlotte, we want to make sure you know that Dana is there. So please type in the chat if you're in Charlotte, yes or no, and then Karen will monitor that if you know that we have a board member there or not. Thank you. All right, so I know some of you've seen this before, so just let you guys know who I am and what I've done and how long I've been doing this business. So I always tell folks to know your why. Your why will drive you. My why has changed since I've started back in 2005 and then went full time in 2012. And when I started out, like most folks, they want to flip 100 properties and all that stuff, and you want to go and grab everything that's out there. But my why has recently changed because I don't want to do that many properties a year. I may do 20, 25 if I'm lucky, just because I now look for deals that are high profit margin, right? Or building more new construction for myself and for clients. So your why will change, but make sure you understand and know your why. Your why is going to drive you in this business. Your why is going to be the reason why you get up out of bed every morning. I'm pretty sure everybody on here can say their family, right? But you need to have other reasons too of why you want to do this business. It's going to motivate you. It's going to keep you in this business for more than 90 days, right? Because we do see an attrition with real estate. People start at the beginning of the year and we see an attrition, but know your why. So I was a real estate coach, a national speaker for Fortune Builders, and also for Tarek Al-Nusa. If you watch Flip or Flop, he also has a program. So I've taught for those companies, also have coached for them. I'm also a real estate broker. I have my own firm, licensed general contractor. So I will just let you know that because I'm a licensed general contractor, I typically don't do projects for other people. I have like 2 or 3 folks that I may do some projects for just because they get themselves in trouble. But for the most part, if you see me in one of the meetings, I can talk to you about why I got my license, but I don't want to scare you away from contractors, but we all know that it's hard to find good contractors out there. So that's why I became one. All right. And of course, just to be legal with, what I'm doing my properties. So I focus on, I need to change this slide because I'll focus now more on new construction, and you'll see I do some rehabs, but those are value adds. That's the VAs there. So value adds, meaning that like the one I'm doing right now, some of you probably been to it, is downtown Raleigh. It has a basement. So I'm actually capturing that space and unconditioned and turn into conditioned space. So that's what I focus on with value adds. And if there's an attic that I can add space and close that one, I will do that. If there's an opportunity to do an addition, as long as the neighborhood supports it, and the ARV after repair value, then I will do that. Right. But it's I do a whole lot of different things. Wholesaling, I really don't do much of any wholesaling. Maybe 10% now these days, but I really don't do a whole lot of wholesaling. But I will tell you that if you are a wholesaler, well, if you are a rehabber who does not want to wholesale, you may want to think of wholesaling too, because some of those deals that don't work for you, you can probably wholesale to someone else that's like a landlord or someone like that, right? Or somebody looking for short-term rentals. So there is an opportunity because they don't work for you that you can use them for someone else, wholesale them to someone else. Previous lives, I was military, so I served 20 years and long years because started doing some things I didn't want to do, which was deploying all over to these foreign countries. And then also I worked corporate for a year, found out that wasn't my cup of tea, and then also did a stint with the government for about 4 years, our federal government. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Real estate basics. So your business structure, right? And you'll see what's highlighted there in light blue, and you need to protect your assets. So we'll cover that, your credibility, how to building your team and who needs to be on your team and how to vet your team. You've already heard me speak earlier about about John, and I will tell you folks, and we will talk about attorneys, but when you are looking for an attorney, don't just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I need an attorney. You need to act like that attorney's interviewing for a job with your company. So you need to ask certain questions. So that's why you need to attend that meeting with John, because you'll know the questions to ask. And then your market, learning your market. All right, all right, so business structure. So one of the most important things that we all know, that we need a business name, right? And we know we go to Secretary of State website. And if you don't know that, go to Secretary of State website. You want to do a search, because the first thing you need to make sure is that the business that you're interested in obtaining for your company, to make sure that that business is not that name is not being held by another company. So just Fortified Custom Homes, that's mine, right? So I could change mine. If that one's taken, you can do Fortified Custom Homes and put another name on the end of it or something like that. There's different things you can do to still keep that name if you want that particular name, but it needs to be memorable, right? You need to have that business functioning of what you do. So you heard me say mine is Fortified Custom Homes. It used to be Fortified Solutions, Inc. I got tired of folks asking me, what do you do, right? I see your name, but what does your business, your company do? And so that's why I did a DBA, which is doing business as, and I changed my name to Fortified Custom Home. So I don't think there can be any question of what I do when someone reads the name of my business now. So once again, you always want to have some type of business function or what your business does in there. And then of course, being a solutions provider, that's what we do, right? We provide solutions. And then your geographical, meaning your geographical area. You don't need to really put that on your business card, your geographical area, but you may do that. But you'll see that I have that in red, because if you put on there, just say you put a tagline on your business card, a tagline meaning that investing in the Raleigh area, right? You just basically limit yourself to the Raleigh area, even though you may do business outside of Raleigh. But just say if you're networking and you give your card to someone that's in Charlotte, or you give your card to a lender, right? And the lender only likes to lend in, some of these other areas, and you give them a card and say invest in the Raleigh area, you just eliminate yourself. So don't just box yourself into a geographic area. Just don't do it, right? Try not to do that. Your name, Triangle Homes, that doesn't really box you in. If you had a name that said Triangle Homes, even though we know it's a triangle, not everybody knows that the Raleigh area is a triangle. So just don't box yourself in geographically is all we're saying. Last names and long names. You don't want to really put your last name in your business, especially if you're in the rental business, but it's not something you want to do. And when you start getting into legalities of how to protect your assets, right, and how to protect your business, that's just not something you want to do, is put your name there. You don't want to give someone who's looking to do bad things, right, and they say, okay, well, they got half your name, they can find the rest, right? Because with the internet, we can find anything. Sorry about that, folks. And then long name. So you don't want to have your business to, all these long names, 4 or 5 different words in your name, because what you want to do and what you should do is you should secure a business email. And if your business email has 50 characters in it, somebody like me would get tired of typing that and probably wouldn't email you. So try to stay away from that. Try to keep it short, simple, succinct, to the point, right? And you can see the examples on the right there, but just try to keep it simple, right? We don't need to just reinvent the world and all the good stuff and so on and so on. But just keep it short. And then you'll see what, things that are frowned upon, and not that we frown upon it. It's just that banks frown upon it. Lenders frown upon it, because if you're doing this business long enough, folks, you will venture off into using traditional banks, right? Or other things or so. In hard money lenders and like Mark being on here, folks like that, they know what we do, right? And they know you're an investor, so they're not going to frown upon you and saying you're an investor. They know all that. But it's those folks that when you go outside and they don't know what you do and how you do it, some of these things can be a detractor from you securing a loan. So just be aware of that when you're selecting a business name, that could hinder you with securing funding out there with as we call them, traditional lending. And then to having a tagline, right? So that tagline being on your business card, a solutions provider or something like that. That's a tagline. You'll normally have that in quotations, then that's your tagline. So if you could in the chat, I just want to know if you already have a business card, just put a 1 in the chat. So I'm just keeping you guys engaged here. Just put a 1 in the chat if you already have a business card.
Ooh, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I love it. That's great, guys.
All right, so I want you to put a 2 in there if you think you need to change your business card or add something to it.
Oh,
Don't be shy, be truthful, right?
a lot of 2s, a lot of 2s.
All right,
There we
folks.
go.
So that's awesome. That's why we do this, right? So so you know what you need, and don't worry about taking notes. I will send these slides out. So if it's something that you miss here, if I'm going too fast, you will get these slides. And my goal for the new year is to make sure I do them right after the meeting, because what typically happens is I start just doing all kind of stuff throughout the week, and then 2 weeks later, somebody, one of the board members will email me and say, "Hey, can you send the slides out?" And Leslie knows I am too. So Leslie's really good at saying, "Hey, do you need me to send the slides out for you?" So she knows I also procrastinate. So, but I'll try to do that right after the meeting.
Okay.
All right. So logo, right? So you can see these logos here, and that's my logo up there in the yellow and red, and you can see the difference, right? So, and basically the name. Now, Fortified Solutions, you can look at it and you can see that hammer in the house up there. But I can't assume that everybody knows that a hammer in a house means that I build homes, right? So you can see how I changed my logo up and I just added custom homes to it. And that hammer, and also folks know what I do. But it's that first impression, folks. First impression is everything. If you got a logo that's boo-boo, right? Because once again, you got to think that everything you got to look at it as if you're applying for a job, right? You just never know. And what I mean by applying for a job is you may hand that lender your card, and then your card doesn't have all the things we just talked about on the last slide, or your logo just doesn't look professional, or just something that you just like drew on before you went to the meeting and printed out on a printer. Not saying that you can't, but if you're going to use a printer, use good paper, right? And not even paper, like a good cardstock type paper. So just make sure you use something that's good. You can print out at home, but use a good cardstock for your cards or something like that. Once again, it's first impression, folks. People are going to judge you based off of that card you give them from the initial onset. They're going to judge you based off your card. I'm not saying it's right, because people are judgmental. We know that. But remember, you're trying to build your business. So you want to put the best, your best foot forward, and boom, hey, here's my business card. That's the first thing. And then when you're networking, same thing. People are going to remember that. Also, if you hand someone like me a business card, I'm typically going to tell you, I really don't want your business card because I lose them, right? So it may be a good idea to put like something on there that somebody like me can do a QR and I can scan it, right? And that could be on the back of your business card. So you can put a little QR code on that, boom, it goes straight to your website, and I get all your information, so on and so on. And that right there for someone like me would be best. So just realize that you're going to deal with some folks out there that either don't like to collect cards, or if they're like me, they lose cards, or they're just a digital person, and I'm a digital person. So so maybe try to put a QR code on the back of that, so someone like me can just scan it, and boom, that's quick and easy for me, right? Branding. So socials, web, we all know that this is huge now. I used to do a lot of social media. I really don't anymore. And the reason why I stopped doing a lot of it, because I just started getting inundated with folks that just wanted me to train them and all this stuff. And then 95% of them just didn't do anything. You know, they just didn't do anything. So I really don't do a whole lot of social media. I'll do some sporadically here and there, but nothing like what I used to do. I used to do a lot of live, just Facebook Live and things like that. I really don't do that anymore. But branding, we know we need to be on social media, right?
Hey, Lionel, you've got a couple questions on the business logo thing. What or who do you use to create your logo? You know, that you can, gosh, there's thousands of, printers out there. Trying to think of who did you throw yours out to, Lionel?
So for the logos, I went through Fiverr, Fiverr. You can pull up Fiverr, you can pull them up right now on your computer. Fiverr is a good place to go to, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money for someone on there to do your logo. But Fiverr is not a good place, but a great place.
I was just going to recommend that. That is great, Lionel.
Yep. Thank you. Who is that?
This is Tamara. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've used
All right.
Fiverr, just so people know, Fiverr is a website where freelancers who have all kinds of skills, from computer programming, website building, writing, etc. Many of them are in foreign countries, so you can get them to do your logos and stuff for a fraction of the cost. I've used them actually in my work projects when we can't get someone to do something locally or whatever. So it's very good. I would definitely, make sure that you vet the person and ask them to send you samples and look at their samples. They have samples, but it's a fraction of what you would pay a US person if you use a foreign person. And even sometimes the domestic ones are less expensive.
All right.
Yeah, the other, somebody said Canva. And then the other question, my business name has invest in it. Is that also a no-no?
What is that? What is the full name? Put that in the chat if you could. What is the full name?
Nicole, put your name in there, hon.
The full business name.
Yeah.
And then while you do that, I just want to thank Tamara, because I'm glad she's going to help us volunteer. So that was a good audition for that. So thank you very much.
You just got hired, Tamara.
I got your phone. I got your phone number too. So, but
yeah.
Okay.
So her
Oh, my goodness.
Nicole's is the Invest Network.
Okay, so Nicole, so I would say to you, what does the Invest Network do? Do you invest in stock? Do you invest in whatever? It doesn't tell me like what you do. It says invest, but I don't know what you do. Right. So you may want to rework that to let people know exactly what you do, because just based off of that, I don't know if you invest in flowers or paper or what, so yeah, you probably need to rework your business name.
And then one other ask, what about Grassroots Investments LLC?
Once again, what do you do? Do you invest in grass? I mean, I know what Grassroots is, but what do you do? That's the whole thing. So don't worry about the investing part, because I don't know what you do. So you need to let me know what you do in your business. Because once again, I gave you an example of me, and I got tired of people asking me, hey, what do Fortified Solutions do? So it's the same thing. What does Grassroots do? What do you do? Right. Grassroots, right? Do you do Grassroots for political organizations?
Yeah. Same thing. Somebody asked Fiddle Leaf Investment Properties. Again, what do you invest in? Leaves? Or you got to be a little more specific so they can know exactly who you are and what you do.
Yeah. And I had a name that was L&D Investment Properties, and I shut it down just because, for that same reason, I had properties on the end of it. And when I had a mentor, that's exactly what they told me. You probably don't want to have that. So same thing. And thank you for that, Karen.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. This is why we're here. So no problem. And that was 3. So that's pretty good. So, because that was my limit. All right. So identity and credibility, right? So that's the thing. Your business card, not only, once again, you want to talk about your business, but it's your identity, right? It's your identity as an investor, right? Your credibility, right? That business card is going to give you credibility out there. So you put a lot of time into it, energy, and yes, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, right? But like I said, you may want to do something a little different. I've seen like all kinds of business cards, and I will let you know, some of the ones I kept were some of the ones that were like really, really good, and some of the ones that I could actually use too, as magnets or whatever. But yeah, just like I said, just make sure that it's going to give you credibility, and somebody's going to remember that, right? They're going to remember your identity. And some people even want to put their picture on there, right? So just to let you know, because I will tell you, like when I used to go to those conferences with Fortune Bills, and I used to get all those cards, and I used to go back to my room, I go back to my room and it's like the only people I can remember were the ones that had their pictures on it. So other than that, I didn't know who the heck, this person was, besides going to their website. And for other reasons, other folks just don't want to put their picture on their cards. But that's a choice that you have to make if you want to do that. So just you see simple, scalable, impactful, versatile, relevant. And so we look at those below without a doubt, right? And of course, we can't do that with our business, but without a doubt, just offhand, without having any words, McDonald's, Apple, and Nike, right? And even if I put the little Jordan logo up there, you would know what that is, right? All the kids know that, right? So, yeah, just make sure that you have a great logo. Like I said, you don't need to spend $100 some or whatever. So this is one of the cards you see at the bottom. This is one of the ones I kept. And you see it looks like it's metal, but that is the actual card, folks. And I kept that card. That's why it's on here. That's one of the ones that I kept because I really like how Marianne did that card there. But business cards, right? Interpersonal connection, so communication, right? You want to, and then effective marketing, network and follow-up. So when you go to our main meetings, we have a segment, if you haven't been to one of our main meetings yet, where before the meeting starts, we split you up into groups, right? Whether it's lenders or rehabbers or wholesalers or landlords or whatever it is, we split you up and we tell you to go to different corners, right? And so you want to make sure you have that business card because once again, it's marketing, right? But you want to use that to network, folks. Networking is the first impression of your brand, to be able to put your brand out there in front of other people. And once again, establish credibility. Some of this is redundant from the last slide, but it's a little redundant because it's important. And then of course, digitally, right? For folks like me that don't like to collect business cards. And then, like I said, you can see the one here on the bottom, and then you can see over the right what you should include on your business cards. And then the key thing is use the back. Now, if you're getting glossy business cards, make sure the back is not glossy, right? And trust me, as a new investor, I got these nice glossy business cards and I got them in. I was like, oh crap, no one can write on the back of them because they're glossy. So just make sure that it's a matte finish on the back where folks can write on it. So you can put lines on there and all good stuff because you want people to take notes on the back of your business cards when you give it to them. And then these are things here at the bottom where you can tell folks, some of the things that you may want to put on your business card. So you see redevelopment. So I don't want you to, if you're as old as me, Flipper Dolphins. So I really don't put flipper on stuff. And you hear people say they're flipper or whatever, but I like to use redevelopment because when you're in an actual business meeting and you're putting together a business plan, that's probably the word you want to use versus a flipper, right? A lot of these big banks, they frown upon that. All right, so here's my disclaimer, right? When we start talking about business structure. So just make sure you read it, folks. You read it all the way to the end, because like I said, you're gonna ask certain questions and I'm gonna say I'm not an attorney nor an accountant. Even though I could probably answer the question, I just don't want to tell you the wrong thing because things do change over the years, right? So I'll give you a few more minutes or a few more seconds to read that, and then we're going to keep it moving. All righty. Keep going. And if you're a slow reader, you will get the slides. All right, so business structure. So hire a professional, folks. I can't say that enough. If you know how to do it, then that's fine. But if you miss a step or something like that, then down the road, it may not hurt you up front, but you never know how it may affect you long-term down the road. So hire a professional. You don't have to hire an attorney to do it for you. You can hire your CPA. Your CPA can also do this for you. You can hire someone that specializes in it that can also do this for you. But when you're setting up your structure, you want to make sure you set up correctly. And the reason why we tell you to hire a professional, because when you're going to speak with that professional and you tell that professional exactly what you do and how your business and how you want to do your business, they're going to tell you what's the correct structure for you, whether it's an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp. I don't know why they would recommend that because you get taxed twice, but they're going to recommend what type of structure that your business should be in. All right. Now, this is where we get questions all the time. And I will let you know right now, I will not answer this question. But where do I incorporate? So you'll have people saying Wyoming, Delaware, Nevada, blah, 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 and all this good stuff. Now, I will tell you from just from the years over, I am incorporated in Nevada. And if I had to do it all over again, I would just incorporate North Carolina. So just read into that. But there, as we say, there are perceived benefits that folks say, corporate Nevada, Wyoming, because you can't pierce the corporate veil. It's hard to pierce it, right? But I would just tell you that if I had to do it all over again, I would do it North Carolina. And the reason why I say that, because in December, I have to pay Nevada almost $1,000 every single year. And not only do I pay Nevada, I have to pay the state of North Carolina because I'm a foreign entity to North Carolina. So I have to pay 2 different states all these fees every single year for my business, right? So, and that's why one of the reasons why I wouldn't do it again. But at the same time, if you're doing everything correctly in your business, your corporate veil will not be pierced and you will not be sued for that, right? Just doing everything correctly every single year. And I will tell you, like your books, right? So you're supposed to keep up with your books every single year and sign off and have your business meeting, your board meeting, whatever it is. I don't do that every single year, and I'm incorporating Nevada. And something bad happened, the first thing attorneys what they're going to do is look at my books, and then my corporate veil can be pierced, right? And I'm structured in Nevada, so that's why I tell you that I would do it all over again. I would just stick with North Carolina because it just doesn't make sense, right? But speak with an attorney or an accountant on that, because just because I said, like I said, it's just maybe the best structure for you. I don't know. All right, so your active versus your passive business. So, question?
Yeah, sorry, real quick, just to clarify, and I put it in the chat, but is your Nevada company the holding company for your MC LLCs? Is that?
No, it's not. And
Okay.
it wasn't even set up correctly. So, but no, it's
Okay.
not.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. And so you actually, a good segue into what I'm going to talk about, your active and passive business. So, and she was talking about holding companies, right? So you may want to have one LLC or trust or something like that that holds different LLCs, meaning that you may have an LLC for your active business, you may have an LLC for your passive business, you may have an LLC for other things, right? But you can have one trust that actually owns all of them, a holding company or whatever that holds them all. But once again, that's why you need to speak with a professional, because you need to let them know what you want to do, right? If you want complete anonymity, then the trust is the way you probably need to go. And then you want to set everything up under that trust and all that good stuff. So this is why you need to hire a professional, right? So your active business, meaning that you're flipping properties, you're building new homes, and your passive business, meaning your rentals or short-term rentals or things like that. That's your passive, right? So that's the difference between active and passive business, and why you may want to have 2 different LLCs. Some people have LLCs for one for each property, right? So it's just people do different things. And like I said, speak with a professional. So this book here, Gino Wickman, Traction. So I implore anyone to read this book. This book actually changed my business because I had a business partner who wasn't upholding his end of our business, and so we cut ties. But this book here will not only open your mind up to different things, but it tells you like who you need to hire in your business, who would be the right person for that, who you need to have in the right seat, whether CEO, COO, CFO, or whatever other O you want to have in your business. But Gino talks about a lot of that, and I read this book. This book was so intriguing to me. I think I got through this book in like 3 days, right? So and I was on a business trip teaching somewhere with Fortune Builders, and when I came back, because normally my trips were like 3 or 4 days, and when I came back, that's when I made the decision that I am no longer a partnership, right? I am by myself. Well, myself and my spouse, and that's the way we've kept it since we got rid of it. So, but so you can take a look at this slide here, and you just I don't remember who came off mute, but this is when you asked her, when she asked, was it a holding company? This is it, and just take a look at that and you'll see why she asked me that question. But holding company right here that owns and holds all this stuff here. But just take a look at it. Once again, that trust, and you heard me talk about a trust, and you can see this trust here has all this underneath of it. So I'm an S corp, so and I don't have a trust, but I'm an S corp, but that trust would own my S corp and also LLC, right? And then that's my short term. If I have my short term rentals, would be in that. So and you can see the different things that you can have an S corp for, but that's why I show this slide. I know this slide can be a little confusing sometimes, especially if you're starting out. And that's why I don't really get into explaining all this, because you really need to sit down with a professional and have them go through this with you, right? And if they're not doing something like this, a little chart and drawing circles and squares and all this and telling you like, hey, this is what you want to do. You want to do this. And okay, this will own this and this will own that. And oh, I have kids and I want this. If they're not drawing this out for you, so it's clear, you may want to make sure you set up a point with someone else, right? Because this should be crystal clear by the time you walk out their office, exactly what you want to do in your business. And if you're not crystal clear, then that's not someone you probably want to hire to do this for you. You want to continue to interview, as I say, interview, right? You make an appointment, but you want to continue to interview other folks, right? To ensure that you understand this completely and you know what you want to do before you write a check or use your credit card with a company or business out there, right? So just make sure, once again, you know what you want to do when you go into that office. And you may know what you want to do when you go in the office. And when you come out of there, you say, you know what? I also want to do this. I also want to do that, because that individual who you're speaking with just opens your eyes up to a whole lot of different things, right? So make sure you set up that appointment is extremely pivotal, especially when you're starting out. All right, so building that credibility. And so we get a lot of questions here too, because a lot of new investors go, well, how can I build credibility if I'm new, right? And this is when we use that term JV, joint venture, right? We joint venture with other folks to help you build credibility. So you can joint venture with other folks. You may be in the main meeting. You may head off with someone that you find that has similar goals and what you have. And then you may just ask that question, hey, are you open to JV in one day, doing a joint venture? I just had a phone call with a lady yesterday, and she had needed someone to do some consulting for on a project. And we talked for almost an hour, and we found out that we had a lot of things in common and a lot of goals in common. And then I hit her with that question, hey, maybe something we can do one day to JV. And she was like, oh, I would love to do that, right? So just always ask that question too. Hey, is this something that you'd be willing to do as JV with me one day? And even though you knew, you may bring something to the table that they're looking for, right? You may have access to capital that they don't have access to. So don't think that you don't have something to offer to someone that's a mid or a seasoned investor. Just don't think that you don't have anything to offer, because you will be surprised. And this young lady here, she's been doing this business for 2 years, right? And I say, hey, maybe we can join JV one day, because there's things in her business that she's doing that I'm not doing, that I was doing before. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we can do a joint venture on some of these things. So just don't think you don't have anything to offer, right? So credibility. So you can read here what's up here. So who are we? So you want to make sure you include all these different things, not all of them, but just to give you ideas. But the one thing you need to have up there is, of course, your mission statement. You definitely want to have that up there, and then go into different things that you do, right? So if you're one of those rehabbers out there, like I said, residential redevelopment, that's probably one of the things that you want to have on there. Now, you can put wholesale on it, and most folks don't have a clue what wholesaling is. And if you don't have a clue what wholesaling is yet, you might not want to put that on there, because they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and the question that you probably can't answer. And so that's when you may want to reach out to someone in the REIA that does a whole lot of wholesaling, right? They may teach you, meaning that they're not going to do it for free. They may want you to get out there and bird dog, meaning they may want you to get out there and find properties for them. And then they'll teach you the business while you're doing that. So you will learn how to wholesale while you're searching for properties for them. And then talk about your business model. What do you do? How do you do it, right? What's your competitive edge? What type of business systems you use? How can you create value for your company or for that person that you're willing to joint venture with, right? You're going to bring something to the table. And then your investment, your buying criteria. What type of properties do you look for? Where do you look for those properties, right? Are you in a Triangle? Are you in Selma? Are you in Charlotte, Greensboro, Greenville, wherever it is? And the type of properties you look for is important, because whenever you're speaking with a lender, right, you may want to tell them, hey, look, I look for distressed properties, and these properties are significantly, in bad shape, but I get them for a significant lower price because of that, right? And so being that I do that, it maximizes my profit. In turn, could help maximize your profit if you're dealing with a lender that you're doing profit sharing with, right? So you want to make sure you explain all that to a lender, and explain, meaning that you want to explain it in whatever you're presenting to them, right? Credibility pack or something like that, which you see here in a minute. So you want to make sure you convey that to your lenders, make sure they understand it. All right, credibility. Talking about it once again. So the marketing criteria. So what do you use? Use direct mail? Are you writing letters? Are you using the MLS? How are you marketing to these folks? How are you finding your deals, right? How do you sell them? What's your selling criteria? We pretty much all use the MLS, right? And are you putting up signs? Are you trying to sell these yourself without using the MLS? Right. So what are you doing? And then, you know, a property showcase, pre-listing signage. So while if you're rehabbing, the whole time you should have a sign out there, right? I'm building a brand new house for a client, but I have my actual company sign out there, Fortified Custom Homes, because I want folks to know, hey, look, I'm building this house for someone else, right? So still, you want to have a sign out there no matter what you're doing, and then have testimonials. Now, once again, I don't have testimonials because I'm new. We're a joint venture with someone else, and you can get those testimonials. All right. All right, your team. So who are the folks that you need to have on your team? And folks, this goes without saying. Once again, you can look at who, and don't just go out there and just find any typical real estate agent, right? Because you need to make sure that real estate agent fits your criteria, what you're looking for. You need to make sure they understand that they may submit 25 to 30 offers for you in a week. If they're not willing to do that, then that's not the broker or real estate agent for you, right? Make sure they understand that. Make sure they understand, hey, I'm looking for this specific criteria on the properties. I want to be able to get them for this, I want to be able to get them for that. All these different things that you need to convey to that agent. Once again, you're just not looking for an agent, you're interviewing them to make sure they meet the criteria, the folks that you're looking for. Same thing with attorneys, you're interviewing them, hard money lenders, right? So your private money lenders, it may not be that you're interviewing them, right? But it may be one of those things where you say, hey, well, what goals are you looking to meet as a private lender, right? Ask them something like that. Hey, what type of rate are you looking for as a private lender, right? Are you looking for a long-term relationship as a private lender? Of course, they all are, right? They want you to make money for them. Those type of things. And then contractors. Now, contracts, like I said, goes without saying, it's hard to find a good contractor, right? And in this market that we've been in, a lot of contractors have been busy with a lot of different things. But I had someone last week to say, hey, how do I get a contractor to come out and estimate repairs on my property? And there's someone in REIA. And I said, well, what you need to do is you need to attend our estimate repairs workshop, because we're going to teach you how to do it to where you don't have to have one of those folks come out and do it for you. Because if you can find one to come out and do it, they're going to charge you, right? And I mean, they give you crazy fees. Just if they don't want to do it, they can tell you $1,000, because that's just ridiculous, right? Because you're gonna, that's ridiculous, because they don't want to do it, right? And that's the way for them to bow out of it. And same with inspectors, appraisers, stagers, and all these other folks here. Same thing. So how do you find them? The REIA, right? You're in the right place. Networking, by doing marketing, by competition, right? So the lady I spoke with the other day, she wasn't competition, but she gave me a name of an attorney that she uses right in Garner, right? So I was like, hey, I'm gonna contact this attorney in Garner to see if, hey, they do X, Y, and Z, because I'm always looking for other attorneys, because just because you have someone on your team does not mean you're not going to look for other folks, right? I have contractors that are on my team, but it doesn't mean I'm not looking for other contractors, right? So just because you have someone does not mean that, hey, I can't find someone else. Because I would tell you folks, if I'm looking at an attorney and I ask an attorney and say, hey, look, how fast can you close it? Can you close it? Can you close in 7 days if I need it? And they say, oh, no, typically it's 30 days. Guess what? I'm out the door, because there are going to be deals that you're going to get where you have a seller that needs to close within 7 days, right? Or you have a seller that needs to close in 14 days. And if you're working with an attorney that can only close deal in 30 days, then you just put yourself in a box. So you want to make sure you have those attorneys that can do that within 7 days. There's some attorneys that can do it within like 4 days or whatever, but you got to make sure you have everything they need right up front, because they're going to ask you for it. But there's some attorneys that can do it in that time frame.
Hey, Lionel, one quick question. Did you say have a sign out when flipping a house also?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. As soon as you buy that house, you want to stick a sign in the ground.
Yep.
As soon as you buy it.
Okay.
All right, so correct questions to ask, right? And I will tell you, there's not a list of, hey, these are all the correct questions that you need to ask, right? But you want to create a questionnaire, right? You want to do this, and how do you get the right questions? Networking, right? Talk with other folks within the RIA, attend these meetings. You're going to gather with time how to create your checklist and things you need to ask folks and sellers and everyone else, but mainly these folks up here in this top left corner. You want to pretty much create a checklist for all these folks up here, right, of what you're looking for, right? Especially those, as I say, I call them, I don't offend anybody here, but these school professionals, meaning that attorneys and CPAs and those folks that they have, not that these other folks don't have to know their job, but an attorney and CPA, they can do bad business for you in your business. And a CPA cost me money, right? I had to pay $55,000 one year in taxes, right? So an attorney can screw you up really bad. We know a contractor can screw you up, but like I said, it's just, these are questions you want to have. So have a checklist out there with questions that are potential questions that you may want to ask any of these folks up here in this left-hand corner. It's always good to have that. All right, so before I shift and learn your market, any other questions?
No, I think that was it. Somebody said they'd love to see a sample of your sign. And then a couple people have asked for sample postcards. Marlene Burrell, who happens to be Dana Burrell, our board member's daughter, can share that. Anybody, if you want her to share it with you. They did the most phenomenal job. When Dana first started, she literally hand wrote all of her postcards because she didn't want to spend the money. Now, fast forward, she was the Connected Investor of the Year. And obviously what she's doing is working, but Marlene is the one that, she'll maybe, if you drop your number in and ask her, maybe she'll share a little bit about what they've done. It's fabulous.
And what I'll do too is once I send you the slides, I'll send you copies of the two signs that I put on my property.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so this is our objective as we go into learning your market. Before I do, I want to, Mark, if you have anything real quick, because I know you're one of our vendors. If you want to share a quick 5 minutes with the group, what you do and how you do it, before we go into this next segment, I just want to give you an opportunity to do that.
Sure, I appreciate that. Welcome everybody. I think you've taken the massive first step of real estate investing, and that's networking with like-minded people. So ensure that you attend not only every Zoom event you possibly can, but every chapter meeting you can, because Lionel, sort of alluded to, partnerships equal rocket ships. So joint venturing with people, surrounding yourself with people that want to achieve the same things as you is really the first step. On my company name is CapSource. We are a vendor at the NC RIA. We do fix and flip financing, long-term rentals, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, storage facilities, multifamily, so a bit of everything. We are also, sort of well-versed in the wholesale space. We do supply off-market deals to our clients that are pre-approved for financing. So we try to be a full service lender and provider. So, if we can help you in any way, whether it's giving you feedback on sourcing off market deals or financing, it's a free phone call. We work for you at the end of the day. So when it comes to lending, just make sure you're not paying a lender anything up front. Everything should be paid at closing. And I'm happy to answer any questions and get an idea of your real estate investing goals, because everybody's different. So you should have a lender and multiple lenders, honestly, whether they're private money lenders, hard money lenders, especially in today's market where you don't want to be handcuffed to one lender's underwriting guidelines. So there are amazing lenders throughout the NC RIA. So I encourage everybody to, introduce yourself to me next week when I'm at the events, both in Raleigh and Charlotte, but talk to as many people as you can, because everybody here is just a wealth of information, and everybody's, willing to share that.
Yeah. And guys, I'm going to give a shout out. Mark is obviously one of our lenders who's a vendor, but I will tell you, I had a question the other day, and, a lot of people you call and you have to leave a message and you wait. Mark is super responsive. So, if you drop your number in the chat. Sure. So if anyone does, but reach out to him, see what he does, because, you want to talk to him and establish that relationship potentially before you find that house. So reach out and, spend some time with Mark, especially if you're in Raleigh or Charlotte. We're going to get him to Wilmington. We're pushing him to the coast.
Yeah.
But so please reach out to him.
Yeah, and not to take up too much time, but as we were sitting here, quite literally, we got a deal in Mint Hill. I'm happy to share the information with everybody if they want to review it. But it's an off-market property that's pre-approved for financing. So if it meets anybody's sort of strategy and fits their lending box, then, I can sort of share that information.
Share it with me. I grew up in Mint Hill.
I can put it in chat for everybody, and
Okay.
my
Okay.
email's in there if anybody needs
Great.
it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mark. I know I just sort of threw you on the spot there, but I appreciate it because I know you want
No.
here, you want one of our vendors, but I appreciate you doing that for us. I know you're probably going to be pretty busy here in a moment because folks probably going to send you private chats here. So if I see your head down working, I know you're working, but like I said, if you got other stuff to do, you don't have to stay the whole meeting, but I really appreciate you taking the time out to share that with folks. And like I said, if you could put your contact information in chat, maybe these folks can hit you up before next week.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Folks, I would tell you, that is like, we don't have too many vendors join our meetings, folks. That is like extremely beneficial that Mark's on here. And I'm telling you, I know if I were in your shoes right now, I'd be extremely happy that Mark just gave me all that information because I would be emailing him right now. Of course, I want you to pay attention to the presentation, but like I said, it's extremely beneficial. You just don't know how it is to have someone on a meeting, especially a lender. All right. And one of the things I love that he said too was you need to have multiple different lenders, right? Mark didn't tell you they just use me only, but you need to have multiple different lenders on your team. All right, so here's our objective, folks. So you can read through it real quick. Like I said, I'm not going to read that to you, but this is our objective on learning your market. Now, I will tell you that we're going to go through it. Try not to breeze right through it, but we're going to go through it. But if you are attending the estimated repairs workshop, we cover this also with learning your market. And like I said, that's a 2-day workshop. So you can imagine that we go a little bit deeper into learning your market. All right, so research your competition. And you can see on the left, so I'm just going to talk. So research your competition. Now, I don't like to consider folks my competition because some of those folks that potentially are competition, right, are folks that I typically will do JV deals with, or I will do things for them. So like one of the biggest rehabbers right now in Raleigh, right, we started at the same time, right? He flips 150 a year. I still do my 2025, right? But he's a volume guy, right? So he may make 10,000 on one property and make 5 on this one, but make 70 on this one, right? So he's a volume guy, and I'm just more of a high return on investment type is what I look for. But I say that to say that he could potentially be my competition, but also he's one of those folks that I actually do little things for as far as pulling permits and consulting for him. So that's why I say like, hey, we could be competition, but he's paying me $4 or $5 grand to do X, Y, and Z for him, right? So that's just another stream of income. And he knows exactly what he's doing. He's been doing this for years. But there's some things that he just does not know, like how to pull a proper permit and just keep yourself out of trouble. So those type of things that he hires me for, right? So like I said, don't look at everyone as your competition. These may be folks that you do deals with down the road, right? It may be 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. With him, I didn't start doing this with him until 2 years ago, right? We started in 2012. So just realize that it could take that long. So always keep in contact with folks. And I've been in contact with him since then. So always keep in contact with folks. And this is why you need to network, folks. But don't look at everybody as in, hey, he's going to steal my deal and all that, because that will happen. But like I said, it's competition-wise, competition. All right, we want to look at those folks that we want to do deals with them. All right, so setting up automatic MLS searches. And how do you do this? Of course, you need a realtor on your team. If you're not a realtor, you definitely need to have a realtor on your team to be able to do this for you, set up with automatic MLS searches, because you want those leads coming to you while you sleep. You wake up in the morning, hey, the realtor done sent me this, or well, not the realtor, but the system, right? because they'll set up searches for you and they'll come to you automatically. But you want to have those deals that come to you. And you don't just want deals coming to you that are like active on the market, but you want these other deals coming to you of these withdrawn and canceled listings, because those are opportunities for you to be able to contact the seller, right? And you want to know, like, hey, why didn't your property sell, right? 9 out of 10 is because they were asking too much money, but just because they were asking too much money doesn't mean it's going to be a deal, right? And you'll hear me say this word, and I'm not going to touch on it. But if you want to go to Google or whatever, it's called subject to, right? So learn about subject to strategy, because when you run into a seller that wants too much money and they still want to get rid of their house and they can't afford it right now, so on and so on, that's a strategy that you can use to secure properties, right? Especially if you're interested in being a landlord or short-term rentals. So Google subject to, like I said, we're not going to get into it tonight because that will open up a can of worms. But Google subject to, and just information out there on it, and you can read. But that's a good way to be able to secure deals when someone's asking for too much money, right? But make sure automatic MLS searches, you get those withdrawn and canceled listings sent to you. And most agents gonna know, oh, why do you want that, right? Because I'm an investor and I know why I need it, and you don't know why I need it, right? And you don't want really to divulge that information to your real estate agent or broker, because once again, they're going to want to represent you, and you don't want them taking up commission and all that stuff, right? Because the goal is, even though you may want to do a subject to, the goal is for you to still be able to get that property down a little bit, because guess what? They may want it $300,000, but how much money were they going to pay in commission, right? So have them subtract the commission from that price, right? So you can get that property down a little bit, right? So if you can save a little bit of money, so just realize that that's an opportunity.
Yeah, and Lionel, I may throw something in there. Not everybody has a realtor they're set up with or whatever. I personally use the Connected Investors for this. And I've kind of, same thing. We've set it up where you can buy it through NC RIA. And if you are going to buy it, do not get it outside of NC RIA. But I've set up mine and my algorithm every morning. First thing I do when I get up, and Marlene, and I'm sure can attest to, Dana does this. I look everything that Connected Investors has sent me that morning, because it knows, I buy in Wilmington, I buy in Raleigh, I buy in Charlotte. So it does that. So that's the other source that you can do that with. And, just like anything, same thing with MLS. If you're a realtor and you don't use it, you're crazy. But Marlene is saying absolutely in here. I use Connected Investors every single morning. Every morning I look at my stuff. So I found a lot of things in there.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for sharing that, Karen. So I know some of you now are like, hey, where's that little thing so I can do it, so I can click on it and do a QR code, but you'll get the slides, be able to do that shortly. And these are the things that you're looking for, right? This is what you want to make sure they set up. Bath, bed counts, what you're looking for, price changes, days on market, all these different things, what you want to make sure that's also included in your search. Right, researching neighborhoods, right? We all know that everyone wants to be in the best neighborhood. Everyone wants like the best school districts, the best shopping. They want to be in the bar district or whatever it is. These are things that you need to look for too, like where do I want to buy? Do I want to buy, downtown Raleigh, downtown Durham, or do I want to buy like in Selma or Smithfield because Amazon is there, right? So there's all these things that you need to research yourself, because I will tell you, like when I started investing, I didn't buy in Selma, folks. That was the last place that I would buy. But now guess what, right? There's things happening in Selma, right? And close to Selma and Smithfield and these areas where folks now are buying properties there because they work at Amazon. I saw a $400,000 home over almost close to Selma and Smithfield, and I was like, oh my goodness. All right. So these areas, what we call tertiary markets, right? These tertiary markets where folks would not invest, they're investing now in these markets, and these have become other markets that folks are looking to also, besides being a triangle, because there's short commute distance to this area, because things here are costing, God knows what now these days. So, doghouse costs you $400,000 in Raleigh. So yeah, just look at these other markets too, and just knowing what market you want to operate in. and then of course talking with the agent. So I would tell you, like most folks say, oh, I want to find a top agent. Top agent don't have time for you folks, right? You want to find that broker that's hungry, right? That agent is hungry, and maybe a mid-level or someone that's just got their license, someone that's hungry, that's going to go out there and they're going to work for you, right? And they're going to work hard for you, right? So those are the folks that you're looking for. You're not looking for the top agents, because I guarantee you right now, if you contact Stephanie Anson and you told her you want to put 30 offers in a week for you, Stephanie's going to laugh at you, and then she's probably never going to answer the phone again. She's going to block you, right? So just realize that what you're dealing with, who you're contacting, right? So one of the questions you may want to ask is like, hey, how long have you been a real estate agent? 30 years, probably not somebody that's going to submit 25 offers for you in a week, right? So just ask that question. That's probably the most important question that you can ask up front, is how long have you been a real estate agent? All right, and then you can see the other stuff here. I'm not gonna read that, go through that. All right, so Zillow. So Zillow is I'm pretty sure you all gone to Zillow, and if you're searching for properties, you've gone to Zillow and see how Zillow say something's worth one thing, and of course it's not really that. Just realize Zillow, they use algorithms, and realize that Zillow is not in your market, right? So your market is going to dictate you what something's worth, and not only that, buyers are going to dictate, right? Because your property's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it, right? So just realize that. But sellers, when you're talking to sellers, this is exactly where they go. And they go, oh, Zillow says my property is worth this. Well, Zillow's not in your market. Zillow's not going to give you an offer, and Zillow got themselves in trouble, and so on and so on, right? So Zillow's not going to give you an offer. I am, right? So let's talk about your house. Let's talk about things that are going on with your house, and so on and so on. But this is one of the sites that you can use. When you're starting trying to figure out values, in addition to the MLS, if you don't have MLS, if you're using Connected Investors, this is what you can use this here, or you can use, like I said, other forms that you can also use. But like I said, we always say the MLS is the best, but if you don't have MLS, then there's other things that you can use. When you're in Zillow, so there's some of the things you can do. You can click on what's for sale, what's sold, and all these different things. But basically, you're going to use this to learn your market, right? So, and there's other things you can do here too to see like what's a code. I clicked on, and I just picked up this flip, right? And I was going there, and I was trying to figure out my ARV, and I was like, oh, let me just go to Zillow. And I went to Zillow, and I saw the worst thing that I could ever see as an investor. And they had this little meter up there, right? And a little meter, it goes from blue to red. And that joker used to be in red in Raleigh, and guess where it's sitting right now? In the blue. And it tells you that it's a cold market, right? Even though I don't think the market is that cold, but the interest rates have just jacked a lot of things up right now, folks. So that was like, I didn't want to see that. I was like, oh my goodness, I just paid $235,000 for this property, and my ARV was $400,000. And I'm like, maybe I can't get $400,000 for it now, right? My wife seems to think I can still sell it for that because of the basement. But yeah, but just do your research, right? Just do your research, because yeah, folks like to look at, hey, the price on, they like to look at the price and so on and so on. But just realize that I use Zillow for data, right? And you can use, like I said, Connected Investors, the other sites for data. And that's what I like to use them for, is to be able to just go and get data, look at schools, look at neighborhoods, look at all these different things is what I like to do. So I don't really care about the prices. I'm looking for other things when I'm doing some research. All right, and boom, time for your questions. And you please come off of mute, because it's easier to, that way you don't have to try to read them all. But if you're not comfortable coming off, that's fine, but place in the chat. But if you can come off of mute, that would be preferred.
Hello.
Hi, Lionel.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. I thought one time there was a subgroup out in Eastern North Carolina. Was there, or has that never been the case?
Anthony, I'll answer that. There was a long, long time ago.
Okay.
And right now there's not. However, where are you located?
I'm located in Raleigh, but I primarily invest in the eastern part of the state.
Okay, we're looking at, in fact, we're talking with a lady to open up a Greenville, North Carolina chapter. So just stay tuned, and you may see that growing.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Great, thank you.
In the meantime, just stick with the Raleigh chapter and,
Yes, sir. Raleigh or Wilmington, either one.
okay.
Hey, Lionel, I don't know if this is the meeting for it, but I have a question about the business side of it that you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Are you going to talk about any type of business credit establishment? on
Yep,
this?
so there's a class where I touch on business credit. So just if you go look and if you, when you look on there, Jackie has them out there she lists every single class that's coming up. So, but I do talk about business credit and what you need to do and how to start and establish all that. We had one lady in our class, she was able to establish business credit in 6 months. And meaning that paydex score of 80, because that's the magic number in the business credit world is 80. She was able to get that in 6 months. Right.
Okay.
So and I see Mark shaking his head here too. But yeah, we will cover that in that meeting. But yeah, we do cover that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Anything else?
Yeah, I had a question about midterm rentals. Are you doing any classes on that?
So we have you said midterm or short term, or is that
Midterm,
midterm being what?
like travel nurses or corporate rentals.
Yep.
3
So
months.
so we have that short term the short term rental subgroup. So that's a subgroup that you'll need to sign up for, and he'll cover that in that meeting.
Yeah, and Vincent, I do midterm traveling nurses. So reach out to me. I'll put my number in the chat if you have some questions in the meantime. I've been quite successful with it and love it.
Great, thank you.
Okay, guys, anything else? We want to be respectful of your time.
I have a quick question. When is the estimating repairs workshop that you kept mentioning?
Well,
I missed
as a
that.
matter of fact,
We were just talking about it earlier. So we're going to talk.
yeah. So we were getting ready. We're going to put it on the calendar. We are doing it as promised in
Okay.
Charlotte this quarter. It's going to be held, I think, at the Holiday Inn near UNC Charlotte. We are doing it on February 24th and
Okay.
25th. Just keep up with the calendar. When you see it come out, I will warn you, go ahead and sign up. Lionel only takes, what are you going to take? 30, what?
I think we do 30, and that's because of the room size too. And I think we normally cap it off at 30, and we get folks all the time to say, I want to get in. They wait till the last minute. So
Yeah.
sign up early.
Yeah. So just know that needs to be signed up very quickly. Francis, you're saying, can we Zoom it? Are you meaning what? The estimating repairs workshop? And if that's the question, no, because it's so interactive. They go out and look at houses and that kind of stuff. Got a question. As a newbie that's never done a deal before, what's the best way to approach an investor to JV? Bio, I'm going to tell you, come to the meetings. Where are you located?
And it has to be a give and take too. You got to be able to
Charlotte. Okay.
offer investors
Yeah,
something.
Charlotte. So come to the Charlotte meeting. We meet in Charlotte the third Wednesday, which will be next Wednesday. We've got a great meeting. I hope you're signed up for it. But network there. I know several people in the Charlotte meeting in the Charlotte area that would love to help and, work with you on it. Francis is saying, what about the meeting in the Triangle? Guys, just so you know, on the calendar, and we've tried to make it simple, is Raleigh is the third Tuesday of the month. It's been that way a long time. Because we're having national speakers, we're now putting everything in a row. Charlotte is the third Tuesday. Raleigh is the third Tuesday. Charlotte is the third Wednesday. Wilmington is the third Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. As you can imagine, we are in a circle driving around. but that is when the main meetings are. Stephanie's asking, when is that class? February 24th to 25th. It's not on the calendar, so you can't register yet, but watch the calendar for it because there will be an announcement coming out. Guys, anything else? We want to be respectful of everyone's time. What is the name of the event you mentioned for me, Karen? That is I think we're talking about the main meeting next week in Charlotte. It's just the Charlotte main meeting. It's on Wednesday.
Karen, did we change the location of the Charlotte meeting?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we did Wilmington too. By the way, if you're on here, the Charlotte meeting is no longer at the Hampton Inn. It is now at the Hilton Garden Inn / Homewood. It's right around the corner, but that is where we're going to meet. The address is on the website. So please make sure it's literally right around the corner, but it is in a different location.
I have another question. For new investors that have limited funds or limited resources, what do you suggest when they're getting started?
Suggest as far as like how to build funds up, or?
Yeah, build funds up. Like my son actually is interested, but he's 22. He doesn't have much money, and so
of course you can.
Him and his friends are interested in it.
Of course you can wholesale, but what I would also tell you too is there are lenders out there that will do certain things. I would tell you to reach out to Mark, because Mark, like I said, they have different things that they can do too. But of course, wholesaling is the best way to start out to build capital up. Is a start out with wholesaling. That is the best way to start out with building capital is to wholesale.
Yep. And if you're for the kids, you're talking about the younger ones. This month's meeting, if you in Raleigh, Charlotte, or Wilmington, is about generational wealth, how to teach your kids how to invest. So it's a great meeting. We never really allow kids to come, but this meeting, I think we said between ages like 5 and 22, and the young men that do it are actually going to take the kids out into another room and tell them how they did it. So I think it'll be a really interesting meeting. We're telling members, if you have a nephew, you can bring as many kids as you want to. Just try to let us know so we can. So guys, it is 7:30. I want to be respectful. If you have other questions, reach out to me. Benita, reach out to me direct. I put my name in there. So I'll talk to you a little bit about, let's see, you asked about volunteering. Yeah, reach out to us and I will certainly hook you up. We always want volunteers. And poor old, what's her name, Tamara? You just worked yourself into a job, honey.
Okay. Karen, can you send me the chat? I'm on my cell phone today, and don't you can't save the chat on the cell.
I don't know how to. Do y'all know?
Oh, yeah, you just click on the 3 little dots in the chat, and it'll save it to your computer, and then you can just send the file. And if you have any troubles, let me know. Or someone knows how.
Does anybody else know how? I don't have 3 little dots.
I see it. I'll save it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Lionel. Thank you, everybody.
Sydney, to answer your question, what we'll do is I'll speak with the board members. We'll probably one of the things we probably should do is put together a reading list on maybe the website. So let me speak with them and see if something we can put together.
Okay, I appreciate that. It just said, as a newbie, the whole subject is kind of really coming fast, so that's why I asked that question. Like kind of put it in perspective, so it's not, you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's just right. What it seemed like.
I will tell you one is scaling up. So write down scaling up because you'll definitely want to read that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
I just recently, I have my real estate license. I'm not active yet, but I'm looking into working, looking into working for a brokerage. But with that being said, what is there any brokerage that will allow you to do like real estate investing, like wholesale, or is it frowned upon?
All right, so
Woo.
So
That's a good one.
so most frown upon it. However, I will tell you that you need to find a brokerage that will not have a problem with you doing that. If you saw my information earlier, I put down that I have a real estate firm. So
Yes, I did. That's why I asked the question. Yes.
I have 100%. Every agent that's in my firm is a real estate investor, and they are primarily real estate investors before they're agents, and they don't do any buyer's agency whatsoever. And they pretty much just list their flips and they wholesale and do all that. So wholesale is 100% legal, right? I sat in the room with the commission, I asked that question, right? You just need to be a party on the contract, but yeah, I'll put my information in here because I just like to make it really easy for agents, because it's just, I can't tell you the stories that I've heard.
Yes, thank you so much, because I've interviewed with two and they pretty much said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And most of them will, especially the wholesaling. That becomes a real stickler point. But yeah, reach out to Lionel and he can kind of tell you why and let you know what to do.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna copy that right now.
yeah,
So
part is
guys-
'cause they don't know
Yeah,
and
go
don't
ahead.
understand it. I would say part is because they just don't know and understand it, but that's fine.
Right,
And
right.
you make more money than them doing it. So, but anyway, that's a
Right.
whole nother story.
Yep. So thank you all so much for coming.
Thank
What
you.
a wonderful, guys, this is so great to get this
Yes.
many people together. And, you know, thanks and kudos to Lionel for doing this. I saw so many comments in the chat about how much everyone was learning, what this meant to them. So thank you so much for joining us. You know, we're here. We've got a lot of meetings coming up. Next week's exciting. We've got so many meetings, live meetings. So we hope you can, you know, join us for those. But thank you so much, Lionel. Thank you. Great meeting. We look forward to seeing you guys next month, and keep on the calendar.
Thank you, everyone. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank
all.
you. Have a great one.
All
Hey,
right, good
you
night.
too.
And I will be reaching out to you, Mr. Lionel.
All right, no problem.
And Tamara will be reaching out to you.
Karen, I sent you a message as well. If the young lady needs any help with the subgroup in Greenville, I'm here to work. I'm happy to help her.
Wow, I will. I'll keep your name because we're going to have a Zoom call with her next week. So
Okay.
that's great to know. Thank you.
Great.
Good night, all.
All right. Good night.